Hello everyone, my name is Sam Suthar. I am a founding director at Middleware. Welcome to Observability Unplugged Postcard. On this podcast, you will hear from leaders across different industries, what they are doing and what they are building around observability as well as DevOps. So in today's podcast, we have very special guest, Mr. Om Prakash. He's leading he's a VP of technology at a global financial company, and with over 20 plus year of experience working in IT, DevOps, and infrastructure management, he has been instrumental for the company as well as for industries. So without wait, let's welcome Mr. Om Prakash.
Hey, hi Sam. Thank you very much for
So
inviting me to this podcast.
yeah, thank you so much for coming as well. Uh,
Share my
y-
insights.
yeah, sure. So what I understand from the internet and from for some of my friends that you started your career as a system administrator and then from there to become a vice president of information technology. I'm sure this journey is not less than roller coaster, because you definitely went through a lot of ups and downs in that whole 20-year of career. So I would like to know more about how you have been transform yourself from system administrator to a VP, and tell more about your journey.
So that's a long journey, but then yeah, I have started my career as a system administrator. Before being joining any company as a system administrator, I was
Yes.
very keen on working on the Linux product stack. So from the year 1998, 99, I believe I have started working on Linux, and that time there was a new Red Hat version that used to come on a book called as Red Hat Bible, and I used to test out things with that book, and they provide with a DVD, CD version of Red Hat version 4 and version 5. So this is a
Mhm.
pretty old story I'm telling about. It is not an enterprise Linux. It was not just a Red Hat Linux, and from there my interest have started developing in linux networking, maintaining and managing drivers for Linux. And of course then later on, when I've joined as a Linux system administrator in my initial days, we have worked on mailing solutions, web server setups, and all those things. Later on, further moving into open source ecosystem, where I used to maintain one of the editor. I would not say it as an editor. It is a full package in itself. So Emacs, you might have heard about Emacs. So I used to manage Emacs version for Ubuntu servers, and then later
Mhm.
on, of course, that journey has continued. Parallelly, while I was working, I was maintaining to the open source for system administrator. Then from there, moved to team lead, and then moved back on to as a, what do you say, as a technical lead and an engineering expert for operating systems within my firm.
Wow, I think that's really great. So one thing that I really notice is I think you don't have a technical background. Like I think you started from the management background, and then I know like it's very difficult for anyone who is holding management background and non-tech background, and then you are now as a core tech, right? How was your journey in that? I'm sure like you had so many difficulties. It is definitely inspiration for other people, because what I believe now is a lot of people think that is that they are choosing the right career or not, right? So sometimes they select engineering and then they went into different. And I know like the almost 70% student, what they're doing in the study is not something they do at work. They always have different things to do. So what's your journey in that? Like how you have been, uh, you change yourself from non-tech to a tech?
Absolutely, that's a good question. I started my career from doing hotel management graduation and then moving into the tech side. Yes, Linux being my core interest area all the time. So while I was working in a hotel industry as well, I was doing some of the things in the tech side. Essentially, that has also helped me. The things which I was pursuing outside my job while working in hotel industry has also helped me to transfer my career or turn around my career into tech side or work into tech side.
Hmm.
The first part was my interest was always there into understanding Linux and how Linux works and making sure there is a lot of adoption for Linux. How, but the journey was, as you mentioned, that it was a little challenging. Let's say for a period of 5 years or so. But then later on, things started moving on. Things started taking shape. The efforts which I have put in learning Linux and uh, developing my skills have paid out well. However, in today's scene, when I see that people are very much concerned about the choice of their career they should be taking up, uh,
Hmm.
the problem here is not the choice of the career. The problem here is they do not know what a career exactly is. When a college pass student thinks of a career, he thinks possibly because of getting a good job which is paying well. But that is not a career. That is a job. You are going to get a good job. You do an IM, do pass out an IIT, and do some professional degree and get a good job which will pay you well. That is a very good job. But a career is altogether different. So, for example, there are people who have done, let's say, who have done IIT and then moved into film industry. So that is the career choice they had made. So they wanted to become an actor, so they became an actor. So there are people I have seen uh, in later stages of life when I have met with many senior people who have who are working in IT industry and who have created their name in a particular tech stack. When I have met them, when I learned their stories, it seems that they have all come from a very different background. So I have met people from archaeology background. I have met
Hmm.
people from there was a guy who was a cashier at one of the small restaurants, and then he moved his career from being a cashier to a toil developer at a very later stage after doing some practice and understanding how the system works, and then he moved on. So the point is the point I'm trying to make here is the dilemma of a career and a job in India is more prevalent. Whereas in if you go to any other countries, people believe that there if you have skills, you can develop your career in any direction. So I always ask the youngsters to develop their skills rather than focusing on getting some career, because career is something very different. You do not know what you are passionate about. At a very small age of 21, 22, you do not understand what even passion is. Most of the time what actually happens that while you start working on smaller things which you like, which you don't like, your passion keeps on changing. So it is, I'm like, you should think of it as a journey rather than your career as a destination. So career should be considered as a journey, and it's a long term journey. Probably after maybe after 10 years I would start thinking that okay, tech is not good for me, I will start writing books. So, but that could be another choice of career I could make. But then it's a journey kind of thing. It's not a what do you say destination that this is the
Understand.
destination we reach.
Understood. Understood. I think even like if you see the government of India, earlier there was some restriction where if you had done like 12 in commerce, then you cannot do
Mm,
engineering, or maybe you cannot do
correct.
like computer science, right? But now I think they already removed that from the
They banned
circulars,
it.
and now anyone can do whatever they want. So maybe like they end up with something new, something different, but that journey they had is something different. So I think that's a good point, very good point. So Mr. Omkar, like I see that you know you started almost 20 years back, so that at that time tech was not at what we have right now, right? So I'm sure, like I saw that somewhere that you have been working right now in a Kubernetes environment. You making sure that you have you modernize your infrastructures and a lot of other things. But when you started at that time, as you said, the Linux environment was there. Then there was a monolithic environment, right? So how you transform yourself from monolithic to a Kubernetes environment, this or maybe a microservice environment, wherein where the word heading, right? Because like everyone wants to build something around microservice because that's more scalable, sustainable, and it's like more highly available because that's something people really wanted to have. But Kubernetes started in 2024, sorry, 2014, right? So before that, I'm sure like you had pretty good experience in the monolithic. So my ask is like, yeah, how you change yourself from monolithic to Kubernetes environment?
So yeah, trust me. So earlier it was a SOA based architecture, which we call as a service oriented architecture. Now we are
Hmm.
moving into microservice and RPC based model.
Correct.
The transition is not seamless. I'll tell you. The transition is from moving from a SOA based architecture or a monolithic architecture to a microservices based architecture. The transition takes is going in places. So, for example, let's understand the case how the infrastructure has developed from in the last few decades. So earlier
Hmm.
we used to have servers, physical servers are there. So earlier we used to have physical servers. We used to deploy application on the physical servers, and we used to work with those applications and whatever we want to do. So there is a dedicated server for that. Now come a time when virtualization has taken place. Once the virtualization has come into the picture, now what has happened that one server, now one machine can hold multiple servers within that same ecosystem, within the same,
Hmm.
using the same
Hmm.
hardware.
Hmm.
That way we optimize hardware utilization by creating virtual machines. Similarly, when we move to this microservices based architecture or container based architecture, I mean, like before microservices, I believe container has put its foot on the ground with Docker and all. So with
Yes.
container architecture, what has happened that now within the same virtual machine, you can spin more containers, and you can more optimize your hardware, and even the virtual hardware utilization, you can optimize it much better. So the flow is not what do you say, the transition is not in uh, like from monolithic directly to microservice. So there are steps that has been taken place, and with that step the moving had become very easy for people who are moving from one direction, from monolithic architecture to microservices. If, for example, in case if I have to jump directly from monolithic architecture to microservices, it would have been a challenging journey for me, because the transition has to be would be very difficult. Like now you are running a system or an application which requires 32 GB of RAM, and suddenly you want that to convert into container-based ecosystem. How will you manage that? How will you redesign the application and things like that? So
Hmm.
so that will be very challenging. However, with the transition that has happened in the decades, in the past 2 decades, this the process has become smoother, and it is I mean like it is also smoothening in as the day by day passes with the new developments that is happening in the Kubernetes arena and the container space. So the transition is there, but yeah, it is going in its phases, and it is helping the users who want to move from one architecture to other, and that is how the
Got it.
transition is happening right now.
Got it. Got it. Completely understood now. I have the other question, something around the Kubernetes only, but that's more into the managing Kubernetes as well as monitoring the Kubernetes, right? Like monitoring monitoring environment is of course it's like that not that hard, but when system have more complex data, right? So the complexity already increased. At the same time, you have to have more data to monitor, right? So how and what exactly you are doing to monitor the Kubernetes environment, and what is the use case of observability where you people are using something not at company level but at personal level, or maybe in general, like how people can use it.
Thank you. I think that's a very important question. Monitoring is a very critical question, and it has been since the ages. Monitoring has been a very critical aspect of even infrastructure or application stack, whatever you call it. Monitoring has been an important aspect. However, with the recent transitions that we talked about, like how we move from monolithic in phases, similar things has happened with the monitoring aspect as well. Earlier, when we say monitoring, we are saying that we are monitoring a system to reach a state where we should be getting alerted. That is like if disk space utilization reaches 80% or 90%, or if the RAM utilization reaches 90%, a alert should be generated. That is monitoring, and that is a very simple way of understanding how the monitoring works. So uh, if I want to ensure that my website is working, keep on checking, monitoring my website, and till the time I'm getting a 200 OK message, that means my website is working fine. While if I get 502 or anything else than 200, I know that something has gone wrong. That's monitoring part, and that is very well understood. But that is a reactive measure. So when we say monitoring, we say, okay, we are monitoring things, but we will only act when some alert happens to us. That means if there is some alert that gets generated, then we will react on that. However, with this new era, with this Kubernetes ecosystem and everything coming in, falling into right places right now, we are looking at observability rather than monitoring, rather than just monitoring. Monitoring is
Hmm.
basically a subset of the observability. Now, what exactly is observability? So it may be possible that there is a lot of confusion between observability and monitoring. However, observability is totally different than monitoring. So as I explained, the monitoring is just monitoring for the alerts. However, in observability, what happens is we look at the holistic picture. We understand the internal state of the system by examining everything which is coming to us by uh, what do you say, by getting or ingesting the logs, by ingesting the matrix of the system, or by ingesting other data points, whichever whatever we can define. So this is how observability works. Now, with let's say we have a black box, a system where we cannot log in. Now, the
Hmm.
only way to log in that system is through either web UI or something like that. With monitoring, we can monitor certain aspects like whether the system is running. We can do ping tests and all. We can do website availability tests and all. But with observability, we will see everything about the system, that how much traffic is going onto the system, what signals are coming out of the system, what are the kind of data the system is generating, and what is the network, if it is connected to a network, what is the network latency, network throughput that the system is getting. And based on that, we can fix that particular system. Now, let me, if you want, I can elaborate on the observability and monitoring part. But yes, this is the complete picture of observability. However, there are core concepts in observability, like what exactly needs to be monitored. So the three key points which we say in observability, which needs to be monitored are metrics, logs, and traces. So these are three important parts that we should be. When we are observing something or application or a Kubernetes cluster, we should be logging these events from all these three. From metrics, metrics is like basically CPU utilization, memory utilization. Logs are the events that are occurring uh, onto your cluster, onto the Kubernetes cluster, and then the traces are uh, basically an end-to-end view of the journey, how the network components are working and everything, where the latency is, what is the throughput we are getting, and things like that.
Okay, yeah. These are the three pillar of observability, I think that means like the monitoring is it's like reactive monitoring, it's a reactive works, and observability is something that is proactive monitoring. That's
It is,
what I understood, right?
it is to monitoring is the what has happened onto the system, and
Hmm.
observability is more about why it has happened and how it has happened. So
How it is happen.
if we put it in
Hmm.
simple words, then yeah.
Yeah, it's to find out the reason at the same time, like why it's happening, So that
Yeah,
is more important.
correct.
Got it, got it. So, I know like you have been working with the company since last 15 years, right? So I know like you had difficult journey in terms of managing the servers. At the same time, you might have some outage, because that is possible, right? I don't say like I can't say anything that if people saying that we don't have any outage in last 15 years, I think that's incorrect because The downtime is something, it's part of, whole system life, right?
Correct.
So how do you prevent yourself from the outage? And if you can just share your some of the embracing moment when you had outage.
Okay. So yeah, we do have. I mean, like, of course, outages are part of the life, and outages are part of any application or developer or system manager or product product manager person who is ever handling with the technological stack.
Mhm.
So we do not deny that outages won't happen, but yes, how much outage is acceptable? We then what we do is we define it. So okay, we know that we have a system. We know that this we are working on a system. We know that the system will at one point of time will fail. But what is our acceptable limit? In case I say that I'll ensure that my system is going to be running for 99.99%, but still I need to factor in the risk, the factor in the unavailability time. So I cannot say it will
Mhm.
be running 100% of the time. So I
Mhm.
have to factor in that particular time. Now that is the time when I have to ensure that okay, within that, this is the time which I get to fix my system if there is any problem. This is an acceptable time, and this is a time where if I need to add any new feature, remove any bug, or whatever enhancements I need to do, I need to do within this time. So that is the definition we define. And I mean, like, of course, in the real world scenario, it may happen at times that we do not align with those timelines. There could be outages due to multiple reasons. And in those times, what we need to do or what we have done is to understand that what has caused that outage,
Mhm.
either logs through monitoring and through having an observability dashboard using Grafana. We understood that
Mhm.
how what has caused this outage to happen, and
Mhm.
what are the next steps we can do that such occurrence do not happen in future. So, for example,
Mhm.
I am managing an infrastructure which provides content to all the servers within my organization. When I say content, so it's basically artifacts, package artifacts are there. So these are required when we patch the system. Now this is a very critical component. This system is the system which is required for building new systems as well. Now, if there is some outage happen on this particular system, then your builds will start failing. Your new builds will start failing. Your existing servers will stop getting receiving patches or packages onto it. So anyone working on getting or deploying anything onto the system will stop working. So to identify what has happened or what could happen and how we can avoid that. So we decided to identify what has caused this issue. We learned that okay, because of this particular thing, the issue has occurred, and this the particular thing has happened because we wanted that thing to happen at that particular. So because this is something we wanted to take backup of the system, and during the backup, someone is trying to deploy the system, someone is trying to build the system, and that point of time the systems are failing. Though we know that this is the backup window which is required by us, and this is not a very big period of time. I'm like it's almost hardly around 5 to 10 minutes. But even in
Mhm.
that, we wanted to avoid failures into the system. So what we did is we ensured that within that window we block any incoming request or we put the incoming request in a queue. And when the system comes up, the queue is processed rather than letting everyone or rather than failures to occur. We try to hold the system and for that particular period of time. And we also tried that to reduce the duration of the backup. So when we say that we are taking 5 to 10 minutes of backup, we are trying to do what do you say, stop the services, take the snapshot, and then restart the server. What we did is we also try to reduce the time for stopping the services and restarting the services, where we only started and stopped services which are writing onto the disk rather than services which are just a communication services or a hosting service. So we that way we tried and reduce the backup time, and also that help that has helped us in reducing the outages that is coming from the uh, coming due to this issue. So but yes, that is something which
Got it.
which we are already aware, and which we were able to fix in a very quick time.
Got it. Somewhere you mentioned that you are able to optimize or reduce 70% operational workload, or maybe I can say the improve the operational efficiency. So this is definitely, I think impressive because 70% is quite high. And so I definitely want to ask you because my audience want to know that what was the hack behind it, how you are able to manage and reduce 70% operational efficiency.
So this is the effort we did in improving by providing self-service ability to the application teams. So what was happening that the request which was coming from application team to the operational team,
Hmm.
and the operational team was working on catering to those requests. What we did is we created a self-service options for application owner for even for package deployment, making any changes onto the system, or increasing the, say for example, you need to horizontally scale your system. So in those cases, we provided self-service options for application owner. That has helped reduce a majority of workload from the operation team. The another thing what we do is we provided capabilities where application owner or the server itself can manage a lot of things based on data provided by the server to certain centralized management data source. So we have CMDB set up in our environment. So the data which is stored onto the system, like for example, if I need to patch a system, or if there is some activity that has happened onto the system, so we created an event driven architecture, not really, I'm like not totally event driven architecture, but yes, what has happened that in case if there are someone is making any changes onto the system, we tried to schedule certain jobs which is going to what do you say, put the system back into its original state when the system was built. So maintaining the state of the system.
Hmm.
So when we have standardized the process, when we have standardized the system, when we have standardized the capabilities, and when we have provided the the self-service options to the application team, a lot of work has been removed out from the operational purview.
Oh, wow, that's great. So the self-service portal is something that you implemented. That's
Yeah,
great.
initially it was self-service portal. Now we have moved from infrastructure as a service model to infrastructure as a code model. Now
Hmm.
we do provide with the GitLab based pipeline and all, CI/CD
Got
pipelines,
it. Got it. Got it. Uh,
and then there are scheduled jobs and which collects data from the system. The systems are automatically getting patched. The patching, so there is no real need for operation any team to come back to the system and patch the system, things like that. So it is
got it.
automatically patched. Schedules are getting created. Now everything is
Hmm.
managed by the teams who owns the application. The servers
Hmm.
are, we just provide the infrastructure and they can manage every aspect of the server, like how it has to be,
Hmm.
when it has to be patched.
Got it. Got it. Completely got it. Uh, I have very it can be a personal or it can be a professional, but what's your daily cycle looks like? How do you start your day? Because at this age, right? Of course, like you have so many things. You are wearing almost multiple hats, right? So, yeah, how you start your day and what's your daily schedule looks like?
So I usually start my day at early, I try to be an early riser, but most of the time I do not
A morning
thankfully do
person.
that. Yeah, morning only person. So
Hmm.
whenever I have a good night's sleep and then I wake up early in the morning, I try to go to, like I try to wake up at 6 a.m. and then go to gym and exercise, and then
Oh,
plan my day accordingly, like what I need to do, what are the things pending from the last day, and usually basis that I plan my day according to the meetings that I'm having in the day, what I need to speak on those meetings, what I need to listen, or what are the takeaways I need to take out of those meetings. And basis that, my days are planned. Usually on weekends, I usually plan for the week. However, the it's a broader picture. Weekend planning. The weekday planning is more around what I do every day, and of course, my day usually starts at around 9 a.m. 9:30 a.m. Office hours starts. So whenever I'm working from home, start from 9:30 a.m. and it's almost goes till around 9:30 p.m. So
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
don't have that time window because I have to be on calls with different regional stakeholders. So there
Hmm.
are UK people, Japan people, and then there are America's people. So we have to
Hmm.
work along with them because we are leading a global team here. So this is that.
Got
Yeah,
it. Got
it's
it.
a lot of things, and a lot of things needs to be completed in a day, and so many moving parts.
I can see, I can understand that because, when Neil was talking, you said, okay, I can do on Saturday only because the Monday to Friday is fully packed. And being a VP at this position, I think, it's very critical that every time you have to have a lot of ad hoc thing at the same time planned work. Got it. So now I have the fire chat, which is something, very impressive questions that I'll ask. So if you weren't engineers, what you would be?
If I would, if I'm not an engineer in technical domain, you see,
Yes.
I would probably open my own catering services. I would
Wow.
love to cook and I love to make people eat good food. So something, and I love to eat as well. So something that I will do. I
Okay. Okay. What's your favorite food?
uh, aloo dum, probably puri, chole bhature, those combos.
Ah, mouth-watering. Okay. And what do you do when you are at not work?
I spend time. I try to spend time with my family. I read book. I do Netflix and all those. I try to binge watch some of the shows whenever I get time. And most of the time, yeah, with family, going out for swim or going out for some vacation, sort of like nearby only, not really very far,
Mhm.
wherever I can
Mhm.
spend and come back, within a daytime.
Mhm. Okay, got it. Who inspired you the most in your professional career?
My ex-boss was there. He left the firm in 2021, but he inspired me a lot.
Outside company?
Outside company, I think I'm great fan of a lot of people. I don't know. I'm like, there is not one person who can actually who has inspired me.
Hmm.
I once upon a time I was a great fan of Linus Torvalds. Then I was a great fan of Richard Stallman. Then I was fan of Eric Schmidt. I have been. I'm
That's
like,
good.
yeah, I have been with a lot of leaders, and I understand. I am a great fan of Bill Gates as well. The way he has built an ecosystem, Steve Wozniak, and they all
Mhm.
inspire me in some aspect. But yes, I cannot say that I totally agree, totally align with their vision of doing things. Yes, my life is different, their life
Got
is
it.
different. But yes, there
Of
are
course.
certain aspects I am inspired by everyone.
If you want to have dinner with a tech CEO, who would be the person?
I would think I'll go with Elon Musk for that.
Oh, like, okay, great, great. And why?
Uh,
That's
First of all,
complex.
no, no, not a complex one. I'll try to answer you in a very simple words because the way when he had took over Twitter, he had fired all the stuff and then he managed the complete Twitter ecosystem with 20 people. So I just want to understand how he did that. I mean, that's a in when we as a leader see ourselves, lean resourcing is one of the things which we look forward for, where we can manage a lean team. Having a lean team is a different thing, but having a talented lean team and managing all those talent in one place is a very challenging task. Why? Because talented people tend to move away very quickly because someone will pay them higher, someone will give
Correct.
them better opportunity, and talented people can build their own system. So I want to
Mhm.
understand how he did that, how he achieved that. So that is something.
Got it. Got it. That's interesting. And if somebody wanted to reach out to you, what would be the best way to do?
You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I am available on Twitter. LinkedIn,
Got it.
LinkedIn, you can search for OMPS, LinkedIn/IN/slash OMPS, and on Twitter, x.com/slash OMPNIX.
Got it. Okay. And that's the end of the episode. So thanks, Umpa, for having time and joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Great.
Having me.